Last week, no demos, topics. We talked about community stand-up that I did last week. Then we talked about the release, look at what we had to do the release. We did some progress on Thursday, then Antoine did some progress on Friday. And today, we will have demos.
Yes, I would have one.
And he's here, so there are demos. And then we have other demos.
Yeah, I might have a small demo. We have lots of time.
So he's here, demos. And then we have topics like what?
Release.
Foundation. Nah, release. Why do I see this screen? Like these, like what? Like that's it. I had a topic. Oh, like birth, like status. What is the status? Bye-bye. Orchard one. Nothing merged. OrchardCore. Ooh. OrchardCore. Let's look at main. Now I know that these two icons, they mean the opposite of what I would think they would mean. So I know I would want to click on that. So I'll click on this one. Main. Release was last week. So last week we created a branch release 1.1 where we can target things that are specific to the release. Some things have been merged to main. So I assume we can merge them back to release 1.1. That's fine. We'll see, but nothing is breaking here. So kdocs update, refactor ContainedPart indexing to consider display order data. Yeah, so now in the index, yeah, so this text should probably be in a release notes. Such that people can update their Lucene queries to use the .contentPart.list contentitem ID. And now they have access to that. So yeah, we can document that we have these two properties, but this breaking chain should be informed in the release notes. And if we don't have one, we should create a release notes page for the next release, which is 1.1. This way, whenever we do a change that needs to be mentioned in the release notes, we can do that. Releases. Look at that, it's beautiful. Okay. 1.0.0, 1.1.0.md. That's how it works. Now it's just the V is new. Okay. Breaking change. So I will just here milestone. I should delete this one. Nope. 7. New features, blah, 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 blah. Pull request, blah, 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 blah. We just need a link. No, we don't need a link. I think we need a list like that. Everything was a pull request? Probably. Do we need to list all the pull requests? I'm not sure. Let's see later. Okay, so we have a template and now we can add stuff. And I will commit directly on main because I can. Good. So now no excuse. And as soon as we create 1 to 0, we should also create the milestone. We should create the file also. So that, where was I? Fork here. Please interrupt me if I'm doing anything wrong. Okay. Fixes 9883 helper and block tag helper. So Mirage fixed that thing. The bridge was broken. The bridge, which means the thing that when you write, example, a tag like this, like block or like tag, a block tag, a tag, this will explicitly invoke ASP.NET tag helpers and try to map the name to the tag helper and properties to the tag helper properties and so on. So here in this case, we say invoke the anchor tag helper with all these properties. Okay. This change here, this was working. This is just a sample to use the block itself and to see if it's working. That's the idea. Oh, it appeared magically. So Mirage fixed the tag helper bridge. Okay. Tenant feature profile of polishing. Does it need some more polish? Because I see some issues here.
Okay. Just a little bit of polishing. It's not about the lists.
Okay. Ooh. That's good. Yeah, makes sense. Bootstrap 5.1.2. This is for the resources. Monaco dates. ImageSharp with lots of things actually. Perf stuff, less allocations. To the list, what was changed? Sure.
Reasonably big updates to ImageSharp itself rather than just the web library as well, which came into that one too, which is good.
Order and filter processor by supported command. Preset support. How do you use presets?
It's the equivalent of our media profiles feature. So we haven't done anything about that particular feature because we have something that's configurable from the admin rather than
Oh, preset equals the value. That was my question. How do you select a preset? It's preset equals something. Okay. And that will work with what you did right, because whatever the parameter is, it will be part of the token. So I think if someone configures it, that will still work. Yeah, people.
Yeah, it should still come across. We don't exclude those.
Cool. It's actually kind of fun. It's integrated automatically. Profiles could use it maybe. And reduce allocations. Nah, nothing special here. I'm more worried about, is it still an issue opened? Oh, or it's still just a discussion. The array pool stuff.
It's still ongoing. One of the guys, Anton, has done a lot of work on it, but he's still a month or two away from putting anything in. But I've not been strongly following it. We'll see what the result looks like. It's in the ImageSharp repository, rather than the web one.
Oh, right.
She probably might be under pull request, not sure.
I haven't been to pull request. A single image size, a single image resize. Boom, 48 megabyte allocated. That's the issue I want to talk about. Because the default allocator uses the array pool. And the array pool, well, what I learned in the meantime is that the array pool is clever enough to release the memory under pressure. So if you don't have enough memory, it will release the buffer. So that's good. I thought it was not the case because I never saw that release, but it's actually doing it. So that's interesting. Read if you want. Well, I find it interesting. So you learn stuff. Okay, good. So going back to fork, ImageSharp has been updated. Media background, checkerboard pattern, beautiful. Jasmine, do we have a demo? Or should we just open the PR and then look at it? Oh, maybe Jasmine is not here, by the way. Jasmine is not here, so it's not here. Here, if I open the PR, we have a nice video. I don't know what you see, but the idea is that it's not plain white. There is a checker, so you can see what is the transparent zone. And if you have some white over transparent, you will see the white now. Okay, so that's the idea. It's nice. Someone find an issue and just implemented it. I don't see the issue referenced here. Or here. Well, Gitter. That for dependencies, packages. Fix liquid syntax. Why? What's wrong? Oh, okay, so that is not wrong, I believe. What is wrong is the comma, which was missing. Update nlog default. File. Dim. What did you break? So it was not logging on the file.
So by default, we only log those events to the console. But somebody reached out on Gitter, and I was helping them with the problem they were having. And yet again, they had accidentally run their app in development mode when they were running in Azure, and it was causing the problems. But you have no way to know that because we only log it to the console, not to the file.
Okay.
So I thought must be the third or fourth time I've helped somebody figure that problem out. So I figured we'd just start logging it to the file as well, and maybe they'll figure it out themselves that they're doing that.
Because it's info on the file, we were just storing what is one. Okay, that's why.
Yeah, because it's info. So it's only 4 lines, but you also get an app restart, which is useful.
Lifetime. Okay, good. Look, so it doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt. It's in the template and it's in the default project. Okay, docs, return bad request when creating a content with no existing content type. So instead of having an exception, now you get a nice 400. Avoid showing error details to client side by just doing more validation before executing the GraphQL code. Good. Cypress update. Total support for inquiry. So the change is just to return whatever the query object is written from the query API, and it might contain more than what the interface exposes, which is just the items. For instance, Lucene can return the total items. SQL won't do that because it's too costly. Update .NET versions must have been released today, right? Yeah, I believe so. It's on Tuesday that I think we ship these. And this new file, which is beautiful. Questions, comments? Everyone is here. Okay, so demos, and we'll start with Sultan.
All right, and you know what I will start with? Yeah. Sharing URLs. Well, just sharing a single URL this time, and it's not a Lombiq one, but a City of Santa Monica one. And the reason for that is because while I developed this module, this is actually the cities, so the municipal government of the city of Santa Monica, and it's about an Orchard module for Bynder. Well, you may ask what Bynder is, and I did the same thing the first time we talked about this with them. Bynder, well, they call it a digital asset management platform. It's pretty much a media gallery for companies, bigger companies or governments, and used mostly by marketing people. So pretty much you can upload images and else into Bynder, that then everybody from marketing will access and use when publishing materials, whether it's print, it's somewhere else on the web, or on an Orchard website. And while Sebastian appears to be disappointed in the chat, nevertheless, I think it's a cool module, and it's a generic one. So the city agreed to make it into a module that can be open sourced, which we just did. This module adds pretty much a media picker field, but for Bynder into the Orchard admin. So let's see it in action. I'm now using the Santa Monica website solution as an example, but set up with the blog recipe. There will be a Bynder feature, of course, that you will need to enable. And once you do that, you will be able to add a Bynder field, which I actually did for blog post. So here it is. It's a field like any other field, so you can add more of these, of course. I just called it Bynder, but that can be different as well, naturally. And it also has support for the required all the multiple configurations, as well as a hint. So all the usual stuff. And if we go to a blog post, we'll see that now we have this Browse Bynder button here. If you open it, it will open this dialog that is provided by the Bynder SDK, where you see, well, all the assets under the specific collection, under the collection of the specific company, which in the case of Santa Monica are a lot of pictures of, well, you may have guessed it, Santa Monica. So let's select a couple of these. The field is currently configured for allowing multiple of these pictures. So we'll be able to select them. You can also, the UX here is quite similar to what the media library provides. It's a bit simpler since you don't need to be able to upload such assets from here or change anything in them. You just have to, or just are able to select these assets from the existing collection. But at least you can reorder them, and you can also remove a picture like this one. Now, if we publish this, on the front end, we get some basic built-in behavior. The first picture from the field will be displayed in the summary view. So we are now looking at the in detail view. Now we are looking at the detail of the blog post, and the same first picture will also be displayed in summary view, but a smaller version of it. So one of the things Bynder provides is multiple sizes and multiple formats of the image. So if you upload it, you will get smaller ones, bigger ones, and here we load one of the smaller ones and in detail one of the bigger ones. The URLs for all of these variations, I think it's called derivatives or something like that in Bynder, are accessible. All of them are stored, and you can access them. And pretty much that's it. It's just more of the same. You can select more pictures, reorder them, change them, or sorry, remove them, add more fields, etc., etc. So why should be better than Bynder, Sebastian?
I mean, what's limiting you from building Bynder in Orchard?
Nothing. The unfortunate reality is that Bynder is already used.
Yeah,
I mean,
the time, body, everything. I bought a house which was already built. I could have built it myself, right?
With Orchard.
Maybe one day, who knows? Who had the worst idea ever to place the delete icon here in the middle of the count?
Well,
what an odd location for an icon.
I have to admit that was.
Look at that! It's even like the text goes around the icon. Like what?
Yes, that's deliberate. You don't like it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super picky, right? That's the only thing I have to say about it. So that's good. Awesome. That's a good thing. I didn't know Bynder. Who knew Bynder, actually? Santa Monica, and?
What does the field actually look like, Zoltan? Is it
state?
Does it take a GUID of the binder? What is it? What does the shape of it actually look like?
The shape. That's such a bad word.
The shape?
No, the state. What's the class? What is stored?
Yeah. As mentioned, we are storing references to these Bynder derivatives, and how it looks like is, well, we are storing such Bynder resource objects with Bynder resource derivative, which is pretty much a name for the given variation and the corresponding URL. So all of these are directly loaded from the Bynder CDN, because this is what we actually want to do when using Bynder apparently. And the rest of the basic details are also coming from Bynder, like it can have a name and a description.
Not sure it's a good idea, or the best one at least. That's weird, because here you are taking a snapshot of all the state at the moment of setting.
Yep, and that's deliberate. We discussed this with Bynder, and these URLs should never change. The asset themselves can't really change, I think, either. So we really want to hook this selection to one specific asset in Bynder.
Yeah, but the derivative, I'm talking about the derivatives here, because they can change, right? There can be new ones, some can be removed.
Well, probably if Bynder improves, if you mean that, yes. But I would think that that's a pretty low chance, because there are.
So when you render, then there is no call to Bynder. That's fine. So it's okay. And if the description is updated on Bynder, you have to publish again the content item.
That was
okay. That's a deliberate choice.
Yeah, well, that's what the customer wanted here as well. This matches the use case.
Okay, I believe that could be an option later to say on the field level, to say to automatically retrieve, automatically to be lazy when it gets description. So there is a call to the API every time you render an image, and that's the cost to pay, the price to pay if you want to have always updated data. Could be an option.
And,
okay.
And that's a good idea. I'm not sure whether it would be necessary in this case, but perhaps yes. Yeah. Thank you.
And if users or devs don't want to pay the cost for each rendering, then they can manage the cache when they render the image, the page at least. So they don't, it doesn't invoke, like we do a database query to load a content item, they could wrap everything in the cache to say, no, I don't want to query the image again, I will just render the same HTML, so to the same URL, to the same description and everything. So this way you could manage when the API call is done. Okay. How do you configure the field? Do you need a API key?
Yes, we went with a simple solution, which is via the configuration providers, so something like app settings. This is something that can change between environments. So you're having that look like a good option. We could also have a site setting that you can override with such app settings, but right now it's just app settings.
Good. Awesome. So now I have a related question, which is, how do we advertise those packages? because we don't have a. We should have a link to NuGet.org with a custom tag, so people can filter that. Because we can have custom tags in NuGet.org, but that's just NuGet.org. Some of these packages are not on NuGet. Like if I look at the HPlay packages, I think they are on NuGet. Is this one on NuGet.org or just GitHub?
Not yet. This is just on GitHub.
So if they are on NuGet.org, then we should agree on which tags. There are already some tags that people reuse, but we should agree on the tags and then have a link on our website so people can find them, discover them. Will be interesting. Or maybe we need to ask Dave Glick, who owns Discover.net, to have a custom section with Orchard modules, so they can point to the GitHub and also NuGet and list them. Might be also interesting. The same way there is Show Orchard, there will be Discover.net, and you can discover Orchard modules. Awesome. Thank you very much. Next, the
yes, I thought I'd broken it, but it still works, so that's better. Just a quick little demo of something that I've been working on recently for a friend, really. But it's actually a field as well. I don't have a link for this one yet because it's not yet released on GitHub, but it should be released, I'd say, early next week or something, I'd imagine. But got asked to put together a technique for adding dynamic styles to an OrchardCore website. And you might remember a while ago that I probably demoed a resources module which adds resources through layers. This is a little bit of an extension to that. So in this case, it's actually a field which I've added to this content type. So I have my type down here, and I have a field called styles, which I've added to the content type, which allows us to then select a particular schema that's going to be used for it. And I'll show you what a schema looks like. So at the moment I've just added a button schema because it was what I was working with. So we just define a schema which could be a little component, or it could just be a couple of values you want, or it could be a much larger one where you're looking for CSS variables for the whole site, for example. And we define the schema as being a button. And I was really disappointed, but I can't use .sass and JavaScript.
I use Liquid.js all the time. And I find issues there when I found that they didn't support some features or they had some bugs. So I'm a big fan of Liquid.js. It's Liquid in JavaScript. So this way you can have templates on the server side in .NET and on the client side. Beautiful.
Exactly. The disappointment for me was that I was hoping that I'd be able to do this with .sass, which is the new version of Sass, but that unfortunately is still only Node.js and doesn't work in the browser. So fall back to Liquid, which is actually really useful because everyone knows Liquid here, and the Liquid.js works really well. So in this case, I define a schema that's going to be the button, and then I say the components they're going to be in it, which is a couple of color components, individual little templates for them, a background color component, hex and RGB values, and what's this one, border radius component. And these, you can nest these, you could add as many as you like. You could just have a single one just to get a color for a variable. Kind of do what you want and define as many as you want. And I'll probably add a field here so you can define just a custom schema kind of at runtime rather than having to manage them separately. But the result of it is we get out of that schema, we get a button, and we can, actually this is so much more fun if we open up the preview and get that side by side. better at a full size. So basically you can ruin your site by picking as many horrible colors as you like. I haven't quite got live preview working, but it works almost. So here I've just applied a class which styles the button up here, and because I was experimenting with it, I'm rendering the value for the style that's compiled into the text there as well. So yeah, you can kind of do whatever you want with it. You could use it here in content types. You can, in this particular case, it's just if we look at the CSS here, we're just rendering that as an inline style at the top of the document. Somewhere there, one's there, where is it? No, it's not there. Oh yes, no, it's not there because we're in the preview mode, but if we look at the published one, so the published one here, then we've just got the style rendered in line, and I've very small screen. And you'll see I've put some tweaks on this style to get it working in the admin as well, so that as you're changing things here, you see the style compiling here, and it updates the kind of example that's part of the schema, or you can see it updating on the site when my screen's a little bit bigger. Yeah, so the idea was kind of that you could use it on a content type. You might choose to render them as inline styles if you really must, or you might use it as kind of a site settings, like a custom settings field, which would provide CSS variables to the rest of your theme, or whatever you kind of need to do. And in the case of the resources module, we'll probably render them out to CSS files.
I got distracted. Can you show again the JSON you edited? It was a schema. What's the relationship between a JSON schema and...
So the schema, if I put them on Windows side by side, the schema defines what you're going to be setting here. So I could change the schema and say that I want another field on it.
So the schema is the type representation. So you say there is something called border radius.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a dictionary, so that's just a name for it.
Okay, but what is so is the JSON schema, or is it just a JSON document?
It's just a JSON document. It's not.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know that is component property in JSON schema. Okay, so it's just
this is specific for that, and it's specific for Vue.js because that's what the app's written in. So it refers to a Vue.js component. You can write your own Vue.js components to kind of plug into it and extend it if you wanted to. I've just got a couple of simple ones there for car pickers, which is
renderer, template. Yeah, all these properties could be the properties of a field, like, and then border could be a field, and button background color could be a field.
Yes, absolutely. What we decided was that doing them with content fields was just going to be, is that what you mean, content fields?
Yeah.
Was just going to be too much work for the use case that we had. So we chose to stay away from fields. But yes, if I save that and refresh this, yeah, so now you've got another one. Oh, and my flexbox is broken as well. Great.
Interesting.
part of the idea of staying away from fields was just to keep the editing experience a little bit cleaner.
They are grouped. It's yeah, it's kind of sad.
And there's some slight differences too. Your standard kind of content field. For example, I can go as deep as I want here. So I can take this one and nest it inside this one to add extra schemas. So I can take another. And define it. And then so on and so forth. But probably unnecessary. I would quite like it to be a JSON schema because I was experimenting with those as well, but haven't quite got there yet with it.
Button schema, button color. Confused. What is button and what is button color?
Well, so buttons the group, like if we were defining a group here, so I could have, I'll take that one away. Group here of I might do another one called anchor. And then help if I rename them to.
So this is anchor. Okay, so the group at the bottom is an anchor. Okay. How do you define the text box on border radius?
Just it's a view component. So in the schema I say which component I want to use, color.
Okay.
That one's text size. So it doesn't have any of the, it's got no alternates or anything like that.
And it's using in the end
simple.
the view component that is named text size or color.
Yeah.
And how do we get back the data?
Just as a string at the moment, but I'll need to update it to say that it's a J object.
But the full form here, the full field, the single field that contains 4 different text boxes plus 4 different colors. Now it's a JSON document that is just the form serialized, or it has a custom format to match your definition?
So it's just JSON serialized. It's a
okay, and then the name that is generated, you will reverse analyze the names to map it.
Yeah, the name's available in Kebab case to the liquid template, for example, or you can put a custom property on if you want to have a custom name there.
Okay.
So it just kind of maps back and forth.
Looks good.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. It's an interesting experiment. I wouldn't want to style an entire site this way, but it could be useful for people that want to give a couple of little options on a particular content type to say, well, you can choose some styles here.
Or as a theme builder, if people want to customize themes, this is something that you could reuse.
And that's primarily what we'll use it for, I suspect, is adding these to one of the custom settings types so that they show up down here as the theme settings, and you can pick 10 colors and that kind of stuff.
Well, personally, I would love even a custom settings for themes to use standard fields like color field, text field for, I don't know, whatever. Even if they are not grouped, like they should be easy enough.
Cool. Anyway, that'll be out shortly.
Awesome.
Finished off on the weekend.
Thank you. Thank you. What, you haven't installed Windows 11?
No, no, no. Not on the work laptop. I can install it for you and see if it works.
Okay, sharing my screen. Oh, I wanted to say something else, actually. Maybe I will share it. Have you seen? Maybe, probably. Have you seen? Where is it? Pull request. Closed. Is it closed? Yes. Where is Niraj? Where am I? OrchardCore. What is all of that? What's happening here?
We are displaying the closed ones.
I'm looking for Niraj. Where is Niraj? Why can't I find Niraj? Oh, he's here. He was here. Here, Niraj. Where are you, Niraj? Have you seen that thing? I'm letting the video play. See the preview here? This is a custom preview inline of the editor, but a different page. There is an option to say open a new page, but it has all the landscape and sizes. Well, I assume this is landscape and portrait. No, this is it actually. So what is that? I don't know. It's funny because it's not resizing to the size you want. It's like simulating how it will look like. So you don't have the actual size. You just have what it would look like if it was the actual size. It's an interesting way of doing that, which is super nice actually, because even if you have a small screen, you can see what it will look like in a big screen. Then there are these options which are meh, but that's interesting. So I discovered that if only there was a site to list all the modules that are available for Orchard, we could discover more. And this one, template editor, okay? So maybe they want to change, look at that, Monaco-based template editor. Oh, let's make it based on JSON schema, and I don't know, so interesting. Oh no, Monaco-based meaning you edit the admin templates, okay. The files and everything, so let's see, but there is nothing so far. Just mentioning that module, then there is, what's up with the release? Antoine said he had updated crowding with the new translations, extractor, not many changes actually, and then there's the pull request, with new stuff. How do I know when it was created? This one. There is no date here. 5 days ago, that's it. This one will be merged. I like to do it this way. And that. So, do you think we can publish these packages on Cloudsmith to test them? maybe.
Are you asking me?
Yes. Can we publish them on Cloudsmith?
Yes, we can. Yes.
And they contain the new strings?
Yes.
Okay. Did you translate any?
I translated the French ones.
Whoa. You know what? I don't know. So I will just go there. Localization. Boom. 99% only?
Two missing words.
Everything is at 100%. Oh no. Oh, 98%. So sad. So sad, Antoine. Such sadness. Is that the red thing here? What's missing? Standard. You don't know how to translate standard. I mean, let me help you. Tip to content. What is that translation? Oh, contain content type. Oh, that's so fun because in French, contain and content is the same word. Awesome. I love it. So that's right. Okay. So I saved it. So what's happening now? Is it creating a new PR later? Just to know, nothing to do with the risk, but just to know what will happen because I could save. So I should submitted that. And then at some point there will be a new pull request, right? Eventually from the grounding bot to update the translations. But what I know now is that the translations have the new strings, so we can upload them on Cloudsmith, update the reference to Cloudsmith with these translations to test it, then ship that on NuGet, and then ship OrchardCore. So what I will do is that we'll take Thursday morning the triage, to not do triage, but to do all these things, actually. So we'll publish on NuGet and try the things, and then I believe in 1 hour we should be able to ship it. So if you have some translations to do, you can still do that. What's missing, however, is I don't think we deploy. What did I say last time? Do we deploy already on Cloudsmith? I think so. Stage Cloudsmith. So we should have some versions already on Cloudsmith because I just merged. So if I go there, you have a link directly to that. Well, it's on my Microsoft email, so I won't open it. Oh crap! Is there a link to that Cloudsmith stuff?
Yeah, we've got the link in the docs somewhere. Oh, not somewhere. It's under getting started. Go to getting started. Go to configure preview package source.
Oh. That's the API.
Yeah, somewhere in there was a link to.
There used to be. Oh.
There was, yeah.
Oh, so can we see? We can't even see the packages there. There might be a URL directly there somewhere. Here, maybe that thing.
I'll put it in the chat window for you. There we go.
Page went down. Okay, so what do we have here? Packages. Whoa! But I want a list of packages. Because this looks like one. Okay, this is one project. So if I remove that, no, how do I get the list? Packages. Yes, okay, okay, boom. 4 minutes ago. So it worked perfectly. So we have versions here. 101 beta. Oh yes, I said we should change it to a whatever, but it doesn't matter. So we just need to try that. Okay, so Thursday morning we try this reference, and if they work, we publish them to NuGet, these packages, and then we can update the release branch with that NuGet version. It should take 5 minutes to get up on NuGet. And then ship the release. Okay, so that's good. That's good to know that it's published automatically on Classroom. Okay, good. Questions? And I merge main back to release 1.1. So whoever wants to see the deployment, they can join. If you don't care, don't join. Antoine won't join because he doesn't care. That's what he said last time. So that's it. What is team typing? Just looking.
Team's not typing anything. Teams is
What? Okay, team. Thanks everyone. See you on Thursday or next Tuesday.
Cheers guys. See you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.